Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to our webinar series, How to Innovate Volusia County Businesses. Today, we have an amazing session. We have an amazing speaker. Actually, Alan is our PR guy. And the day I met him, I was like, another PR company. And then Caroline, that's my boss, you said, oh my gosh, he's amazing. You will see it. And then we start writing press releases for our clients. And then voila, oh my gosh, we have NPR here, we have Orlando Business Journals, we have all the reporters here calling us, trying to get the news, you know. And that's how I was able to see the impact that Alan has in Central Florida community. So Alan is the founder of Alan Byrd Associates. He also is an award-winning reporting, works for the Orlando Business Journal and many other publications. He has written 2.5 books. You don't know which one is the third one. And I like to hear his stories. You know, the best story I hear from him is when his black bear went to his house. We were talking about it. We were talking about it because I have that same problem in my house in Ormond. I was like, oh my gosh, but those black bears were huge. So we're talking about this event that he has in his house. And I told him, like, maybe your trash can smells like honey. That's what they're going to your house. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk more because I'm excited about Alan, and I wanna welcome Zach. Once again, Zach is gonna help me later because I gotta go to another meeting. And of course, Twinka. Twinka is our cheerleader, our champion. She's growing a business. I would love to see your commitment, Twinka. That means a lot. And I hope, you know, you're gonna learn a lot from Alan. He's amazing. And Alan, now is all of
All right.
yours. Just tell us everything about you first, because I want to know more about you.
Well, and this is, one of the things when I work for the incubator is strictly with the public relations, but we do a lot with marketing. And after I was a reporter with the Business Journal, and as a reporter, I covered the fun stuff. I covered Walt Disney and tourism, and I actually got Michael Eisner to give me a scoop that he wasn't expecting to give to me. So that was fun. I was one of the first sports business reporters in the country, and I also covered transportation. But I left there and I left the reporting side and went over to the marketing side, which got me my first entrance into direct mail. And this is one of the things that the Business Journal, people are familiar with the Orlando Business Journal in the local markets, but it's one of about 41 business journals across the country, owned by the Newhouse Corp, which is one of the top 25 privately held companies. So it was really a great experience to learn how to do things right. And one of the things that we did was that we knew that it took about 13 different touches to renew every subscriber. And those 13 different touches, started at 6 months out and ended at about 2 months after their subscription ended. They included telemarketing and from our call centers that we ran, but a significant amount of it was direct mail pieces, and a variety of direct mail pieces, an envelope, stuffed envelope letter, a postcard, a variety of different things. In fact, every year under my purview at the Business Journal, we would put out about 1 million pieces of direct mail every year. We'd also attract new people. We'd know when to call behind them and how we followed up. And every subscription that I sold or renewed, we would know exactly where it came from, which direct mail piece was working the best, whether it was phone calls or whether it was call behind a mail piece, because we tracked and we could invest more in the things that worked well and the things that didn't, and less in the things that didn't. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Since then, I worked for a construction company for a few years and then opened up my company about 10 years ago. And we've done all sorts of marketing. We've done quite a bit of direct mail. I'll give you a couple of examples that we do. And we do birthday cards for potential customers. That's a pretty easy one to do, that if you get into a birthday card routine, it kind of makes you stand out a little bit more. One of the things we do, grand opening offers, if we're targeting consumer market, mailing out direct offer, grand openings, come in and get a free meal or a free XYZ, something like that. But one of my favorite ones we did is back during the last recession, and when short sale, everybody's trying to short sale their business, their homes. I worked for a company that was very early on, got the website, got URLs all dealing with short sale your house, short sale this, short sale information.com. And what we did to try and get people to his business of short selling houses was that we acquired the list of everybody in the Central Florida area who was 30, 60, and 90 days behind on their mortgage. Mm-hmm. And we invited them to an event saying, basically, here's how to get out of your mortgage. Here's how to short sell your home. Come here and learn this. It was very, each event we would have 10 to 15 people show up. And of those 10 to 15, we would get probably 50 to 60% of the listings because of this.
Wow.
And I will tell you, the guy was so successful. I admire him that shortly after this, and he was able to quit the actual real estate business and live off the short sale information that he sold on his websites, because we were able to bring him to so much attention. The other aspect of my company is I do a lot of work for elected officials and for political campaigns. I was Congressman Micah's press secretary in Florida for a number of years, but I also work on campaigns. And if you are a registered voter, then you have probably seen mine or somebody else like me's work in your mailbox. This cycle, during the primary, I think I sent out about 60 to 75,000 mail pieces in two different races, just two races. And so when I say direct mail, and most people, when you talk about direct mail, most people look at it and go, oh, junk mail. I hate junk mail. Junk mail doesn't work. Junk mail, I never look at what's in my mailbox. Well, it's not junk mail, and it actually does work. And because one of the things that I love about direct mail is it's of all the marketing tactics out there, it's one of the best ones to be able to say, here's what I'm going to spend, and here's what my results are going to be. And I'll be able to tell you before you even start whether it's worthwhile of doing a direct mail piece or not. Because of how easily you can target and how much you can track and how much going in as far as costs and all the other aspects of it. So, and here's the other thing that people also don't remember is that if you're designing it, if a good mail piece is designed, from the time that you're sitting at the kitchen cabinet, you're looking at the mail, you see the junk mail, and you throw it in the garbage. A good mail piece is designed to stop about 5 to 6% of the people as they do the flip to the garbage, mm-hmm. and just stop you. Or it's designed to give you a message, a repeated target. And everybody knows in marketing, it takes 6 to 10, 6 to 10 hits to really start making an imprint. But if I'm sitting there and doing mail pieces over and over again, you're going to sit there and you're going to see it. And I'll give you an example on this one. I'm going to share my screen with you a little bit. This is a mail piece we did for the grand opening of the Groovy Goat. Mm-hmm. Again, that's eye-catching, right? Mm-hmm. New goat. Here's one I did for my wife for school board. Again, all I'm wanting to see, I'm wanting them to see the last name in the 5 seconds and the 3 seconds it takes to go from your kitchen counter to the garbage can. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Mm-hmm. And being able to read in Spanish, seeing the name, getting it in there as quick as possible. The backside of it, if I get them to the flip, I can do a whole bunch of other stuff to them. Mm-hmm. So these are a little bit text heavy, but that's all right. I'm trying to tell a story. On the Groovy Goat mailer, still a little bit text heavy because nobody knew what it was, but an offer on this. And on this one, we sent out 6,000 cards and got back about 100 of the cards. But that $100 sales was about about 150% of what we spent to send out this mail piece. And and we're not even counting the return cards, the return customers. So you came once, then you came over and over again. So that's what I'm saying is you can know where you're at and you can
Yes,
run through it.
exactly.
So
One thing before we move forward, Alan, you're
mhm,
right when it comes to direct mail. And I always, when I help my clients, and I said, look, if you want to move forward your business, you have to knock everybody's door from different outlets. Because sometimes
mhm,
people say, oh, direct mail doesn't work anymore. We have only internet. And I said, look, internet, I mean, there are like millions of things we see in the internet,
mhm.
millions. So it's going to be very expensive and very difficult to promote your business only online. So I always say, just you have to do a postcard. You have to send it to their houses. And as you mentioned, say, no, I don't want to waste my money because I'm going to put it in the garbage. And I said, look, if you design a nice postcard that is very catchy, if somebody has the need at that moment when they are going from the mailbox to the kitchen and say, oh, I was looking for a maid and I just got this nice postcard of these maid services, I'm just going to call in right away. So I didn't have to go to Google. I didn't have to sit in my office. I just going to call right away. Hey, I need a maid. Please help me. And then they have a business. And that's
Well,
what is important this class, because this is what I'm trying to tell the clients. Please just spend some money in direct marketing and direct
well,
mail.
let's go ahead and move into the numbers
Yes.
because it's pretty easy to say that if I usually base my costs, my rate of return on about a 0.5% minimum return. That's on the low end of what you're going to get. A good mailer should get about a 1% return, and a great mailer should get about a 2% return. And going into there, and you know that those are. So you kind of go that the more mail you go up and better targeting, the higher your rate of return is. So if you hit them, you're going to get a better rate of return on the sixth mail piece you deliver versus the first. But if you kind of go base your stuff on the 0.5%, the bare minimum, and say, am I going to, if I send out enough mail pieces and I get 0.5% return, am I going to make back my profit and then make some more extra money?
Mhm.
Absolutely, then it's worth it. So how do you calculate the cost? And this is the nice thing about direct mail is that I use a general number of about 40 cents per mail piece. It varies widely, but if you're at 40 cents per mail piece, you're going to be at that. How do I get to that number? It's usually 24 to 28 cents for postage. That's doing it pre-sort. Not first class. First class 50 cents. You're going to spend a lot of money on first class mail, but this is 24 to 28 cents. If you're sending in one location, like one zip code or one county, you're going to save on the more money. If you're sending out nationwide, where it goes to a large audience or it's very diverse, you're going to spend more on postage. So you try and block out your places where you're going to go. Your cost to print obviously depends highly on quantity and size, and we're going to talk a little bit later on how to drop that prices down a little bit. Is about 6 to 10 cents per piece.
Mhm.
Obviously, the more pieces you print out, the cheaper it's going to be. We're going to talk about gang running and printing out a whole bunch at one point in time or later, which drops your price as well. Your mail costs is going to be somewhere, and by mail I mean your printer, or there's mail houses that take the the printed postcards, put the addresses on them, sort them up for the mailbox, and delivers them to the post office. That's usually around $250 to $500 flat cost, depending on how big your mail batch is. And then your list cost can be, that's widely ranged. You can probably look at spending maybe 5 cents a name, 10 cents a name for a general list. You can go all the way up to $1 a name. The list that I talked about for short sale, that was a hard to get list. So that was about $1. And we're going to talk about how to get your list together. So let's say I've got a 10,000 mail piece that's going out. It's going to cost me about $4,000 to spend. So my question is, if I get 50 customers out of that 4,000, out of those 10,000 pieces, will I make more in profit than $4,000? Pure, simple, and easy. If the answer is yes, then you're going to do mail. If the answer is no, or you'll have to, you can also realize, say, okay, of those 50, you can take it even further. Of those 50, 25 will become repeat customers, and then I'll make it over the next couple of years. Then it's a yes as well. That's where we did it, the business journal. Our business journal, the business journal direct mail, we knew that we would make a profit in year 3. So it wasn't that we were making a profit that first year on a mail piece, but we knew by year 3 that it was worthwhile. So that takes a little bit further. And also you can increase that. Remember, again, you increase that by more mail and also by better targeting. So that's the key thing. So if it is, then yes, you've got mail. So, and that's where you need to go. It's a great target on that. Does that make sense? Did I make a lot of sense there? Or did I kind of burn through that pretty quick?
Yes, so actually it makes sense. And one thing is, if you are working on a startup company, remember, first year is always an investment. Yes, you're not gonna see all the profits. Maybe you see it, great. But everything you're putting the first year of the venture is investment. As Alan mentioned, you have to get the word out there, you have to put the name out there, you have to spend in marketing. And 40% of the profits you're supposed to go to marketing. Usually people don't put any dollars for marketing. I say, like, you have to do it because you are starting a brand. You have to get to the houses, you have to go to your customers. And if they don't invest, you're not gonna get anything in return. So, and I like what you hear, is like for instance, that business where you work, they wait for 3 years to get the profits, but what they invest, it is priceless, because now everybody knows what the business journal is, right?
Yeah, and those are the sorts of things that you'll learn over time. And this is one of the things, one of the biggest issues that I see with companies that I work with is they don't track where their money, where their sales are coming from. And how can you know what's really good if you don't track? And how can you invest in the things that are better if you don't track? And the business journal, and that's one of the things I learned there, was tracking. And this is also the great thing with direct mail, is that by putting some sort of offer or some sort of thing on there, you can track exactly what it is. And we're going to go, when we go into design, we're going to talk about that, talk about how to do different offers with the same mail piece to test and see where they're at. But so the real question, a lot of folks go, so, okay, I want to do a mail piece. How do I get the lists? And that's the wonderful thing. There are all sorts of types of list offers. If I'm looking for a real specific list, I go to my mail house, and my mail house and printer, the guys that I normally work with, are the same. And I say, hey, I need XYZ list. And he'll go to List Broker and figure out, okay, here's what the list is. Here's how many people are under that criteria. And I ran a couple of lists earlier on my own, and within the 10 miles of the incubator, let's say you're in the Medicare sales, you're in 10 miles of the incubator, so you want to hit people who are 60 to 64, because at 65 they want to be they're going to be having to get Medicare. You don't want the Medicaid, the twin Medicare. You want people that can afford Medicare Advantage, so over $40,000 in income. So within 10 miles of, and they have a birthday in October. So you just want to send them a birthday card. Start sending them a birthday card every year, just to get your name out there, ID. Over 40,000. Within 10 miles of the incubator, there's 1,073 people who fit that criteria. Wow. So you can send out 1,000 birthday cards in October, and that list costs about $176. Now, let's say you want some investment money. All right, everybody wants investment money, right? Within 10 miles of the incubator, people 45 to 60 with a home value over $500,000, a net worth over 1 million, a very aggressive investor, and an annual income of $250,000 or more. There's actually 200 people that fit that criteria within 10 miles of the incubator. To get that list of names and addresses is $146. So,
wow.
So
that's what we're talking about in this webinar. That's what we need to know. Yeah, that's awesome. Right. I love it.
And this is what I mean, is that you can get very specific. And I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna kind of go through how we do it. You're gonna see my email real quick, because I forgot to shut my email down before then. But let's go over to here. And this is Info USA. And Info USA is a very easy place to look at. So let's say we're going to do consumers. Let's say I'm trying to figure out a new business, a new restaurant. Let's just do a restaurant, be easy. So we go through, we get started, U.S. consumers. So you come to this kind of page. I'm going to do just leads for mailing here. And you got a little bit of option. You got some risk, very little risk. You're going to pay more for the less risk that you got. So less risk means that you'll get some back as bad addresses. Some risk is you'll get a lot more back at low addresses, and low risk. So they usually check them, but not, they're not great. So let's say we want to go to the map. This is real easy. Let's say I want to, Connie, what's your zip code there?
32114.
Alrighty. Let's say I wanted to do 32114. All right, I'm there. Let's say I take and I want to draw a shape to where I get all the people from, Ormond Beach.
Yes, from Ormond.
Ormond Beach down to Ponce Inlet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say east of 95.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get there. And so in there are 75,244 consumers.
Wow.
That's a massive list. Woo! That's a $35,000 mail list.
$35,000.
Yeah, that's a $30,000 mail piece, just for one. So most businesses aren't going to be able to do that. So, all right, so let's cut this down a little bit. So we see we got 75,000 leads in there. Let's go to basic demographics. Let's see, I don't want young kid, or I do, I'm a restaurant. So I want 25 through, let's say 59-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say I'm a steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go 30 to 35. Let's see what that does to me. Update my count. Drops it in half. So now I'm down to 48,000.
Wow.
I'm an upscale steakhouse, so I want people probably over $100,000 in income. And now we are down to 8,000 leads. Pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
Let's say I just want to offer somebody in October a free appetizer for their birthday. So I'm going to go to October, and now I'm down to 1,000 leads.
Ooh.
So for basically $400, I'm going to send those people in there. Let's say that their average check is $150 or $200 because it's a high-end steakhouse. $200 is their average check price. At 1,000, that's $400. I'm going to get back in there about 10 to 200. So I'm now going to get $2,000 by spending $400.
Wow, that's
amazing. How that works?
Wow, I love it. This is
now
great.
You can get a whole bunch of other stuff. So you want married people, you want gender, you want head of household. This is where you start getting into the fun stuff. I can get your home value if I only want homeowners. If I want people, how long they've lived in town, whether they're new to the town. I mean, I can get people length of residence, from 1 year to 1 year. Let me cut off these income things here so we can broaden it up a little bit. You see that of people who've only lived here for a year, I've got 4,800 people. And a month of birth of October.
Wow.
43, so length of residence at that house. Personal finances, I can do it how many credit cards. If you like to spend credit cards, let me say, I only want people that spend 2 to 4 credit cards. So how many is that? Only 34, thank goodness. let me take that out of here. Because I got some of the
one credit card because everybody is broke.
And then you've got some other stuff in here that that you do. Now you got to have an account. Hold on, it's taking a while. My computer's a little bit slow. These are all some stuff you can do. You can do just households with children, households without children, households that have grandparents. If you want to target veterans, you can find veterans in here. This is the hobbies and interests. Let's say you're a high-end place, so you only want people that like gourmet food and wine. I can hit that market. let's see, out of these people,
Mm,
homeowners, so 29,000, 5,000 people that like gourmet food and wine
love
that
it.
you can find here in your places.
Love it.
Your religion, your nationality,
Wow.
you know, you can check you're a Jewish restaurant, a Jewish bakery, or deli. Maybe you only want to hit that, or voter information.
Hmm.
You can do it by zip code. All sorts of this stuff is available. And then when you're going through here, so we've just got the folks that like gourmet food and cooking that are over 35 to 59,
Hmm.
and you can see the price,
Mm.
so you can price it out before you ever come here. You have to be registered with Info USA, and I'll get a call here from one of Info USA salespeople in a minute here because they call up there. But for that, it's $5.35. That is about, what is that? 10 cents a piece, penny a piece. I'm horrible at math, so I'm a writer more than
So
anything.
I have a question, Alan. Is this tool free for people to use? Like
Yeah,
info
yeah,
use, like I can go and do my own list, but the only thing that I have to pay is just for the list?
that's it. That's right.
Oh, wow.
You pay for the list and they send it to you in an Excel spreadsheet.
Wow. That,
You can see how many numbers, you can play around with the list and see how many numbers, how many people are in this database and get it down to a number that's affordable for you. So what I
wow.
have to do with my clients is say, all right, so what's your budget? And they say, $3,000. Figure out what's the best way to target to get as close to that number as possible. Twinkie, you had a question too?
I was going to say, is this the same system that like a printer mailer uses? And you do it just, if you were paying him to do it for you, you would just give him that information that
You can. Generally, where I go through my my printer is usually for hard to get lists. So you can do businesses on here, and you can do it by SAI. I think by code. Um,
So someone who runs a business like that may have access to different lists that your average Joe looking
right.
doesn't have.
See, I can enter SIC codes. I can enter other, businesses in a geography. I can enter different types, and you can enter size of businesses, how many employees you've got, sales volume, all sorts of stuff. But let's say like I've got a cancer treatment, a phase 1. I need people to go through a phase 2 qualification on. And they have to be in Florida, and they have to meet very specific criteria. So I can get my my printer, a good list broker can find the lists, or say people who have been diagnosed with lung cancer within the last 6 months, and who are between the ages of 40 and 45, blood type O, that specific. It's going to cost you a lot more for that list, but you're only going to hit the absolute people that you really, really want. And it's going to be more effective. You can't find that specific on Info USA, but you can find it out there. And this is the thing that people just don't realize, and it's even more so now in electronic data, is you can save. I like my privacy, but a good list broker, good data, and the same thing with Facebook and Google and online advertising and targeting is we can find just about anything about you, we know. Based on your shopping habits, based on what organizations you join, based on what magazines you're subscribing to, because magazines sell their subscription lists all the time. We can, and this is why you get very specific messages from political candidates, is because they know all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They know who you've donated to. They know what organizations you belong to, because organizations sell their list all the time. So let's say, and then a lot of stuff is public record. So let's say I've got a great new thing for a boat. I can go to the state and get a list of everybody who bought a boat every month. DUI attorneys do a really good job of sending out mail pieces to everybody who gets a DUI in their area.
Wow.
Because that's a public record, and there's so much stuff in public record that you just have to know how to mine for it, and list brokers can mine for it. You can ask the state, and but it's often data that's really widespread. But you think about it, anytime you got a boat license, you got a hunting license, you got a fishing license, concealed weapon permit, all of that stuff is you can figure that stuff out pretty easily. What kind of car you buy, because when you get a car, what do? You have to register it with the state. So the state knows how much it costs, whether you bought new or used. All of that sort of information is available for you. And that's why I say you can really shrink down your places for where you're going. So that's how you get on lists. It's pretty easy. So let's, if there's no more questions on that, let me talk about design. And there's a couple of rules that I want you to know of that I skipped over earlier. For one thing, because you're going you're not going first class. First class, the post office has to deliver that pretty much the next day. They have to take it. That's your priority stuff. You're paying for that priority. Since I'm paying half the cost of it, I'm a lot less. I will tell you, the issues with the post office were real. It was significant. It was really, for us, those of us that do direct mail, it was very difficult. So you got to keep in mind that one of the things that you can't do with direct mail is say, I want my piece to be in mailbox on this day, because the post office can have your mail sit at the post office for up to 5 business days. So your post office guy delivers it on Monday, delivers it today. Then the post office can sit on it Thursday, or today's Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before they actually put it into mail carriers out there. Before the election, the post office actually increased that to 10 days. So, and they would not guarantee, and this is where those of us in the election, because, a mail piece that arrives the day after the election is absolutely worthless, was frustrating to us. And it happens all the time. By the way, it happens all the time when you don't do it because you're not taking account of it. Getting it to the post office 10 days before the election was just a pain in the butt. Now, generally, this is one of the things I say, your printer, and I'll talk about this later, make sure they have a great relationship with the post office. My guy knows everybody at the post office. He goes and delivers them Christmas presents, bottle of whiskey over the summer for the postmaster that runs the office, where they go, make sure they know that. One of the things that people always forget is that when you look at a mail piece, and let me go back to my mail piece here, the Groovy Goat one. This is the address side. Most people forget that this side of your mail piece is the side that is up in your mailbox. So when you go in your mailbox and you look at it, and you'll look at it today when you get through, every mail piece that comes in there will have your address face up. And we'll talk about that, how a lot of people screw that up significantly in their mail pieces. Bigger is always better. A small card gets lost in the mail. A big card that people have to fumble with to get out of the mailbox is better. And then don't just do a one-off and look for results. Plan out a full direct campaign, because if you plan out your direct mail campaign in advance, you're going to save significant amount of money. And we're going to talk about that, how that happens in printing. So don't just sit there and go one-off and go for that way. So remember the rules, that your address is up. You want to leave, you want to make sure that your designer leaves room for the barcode. And I'll just show you, I'm going to lift this one up, because this one, see if we can see it. Can you see the mail there or not? It's kind of bright, glaring. All right, so right here, there we go. Maybe that works better. There's the address there. There's a barcode there. You got to leave enough room for all of that stuff. Your stamp, your guy's permit, because that'll go on there. All of that stuff is on there. And remember, designed to capture their attention from when it goes from their places there. Make sure your offer is prominent. People and dogs are really good to have on the front cover. They catch attention. Dogs, for some reason, a mail piece with a dog, and you'll see in some of the mail pieces I'm going to show you design-wise how you'll see the same dog and same kids over and over again, because they're my kids and my dog. So they're used to being models of direct mail. You can pay for models photo shoot. that is one thing. I make sure you get a professional photographer. Don't try and do it with your iPhone. You know, get different shots, get them to take a lot of shots. Um, you know, you can do a lot of die cuts and different pieces. You know, like we can, there was an invitation I did with the Business Journal that was shaped to a tuxedo. It looks great. They're costly. Anytime that you get some weird cut or perforated piece on it is going to cost you more. You want to get thick pieces. You know, you'll feel the flap on here. So let me show you a couple of pieces. I keep all my direct mail pieces from the political mail campaign. So real quick, in the 5 seconds it takes, and it may be backwards. Is it backwards? Shoot. All right, so it's very hard to tell who this is for. This is for D.D. Schaffner. It says it big on the other side, but you don't see it as you're going through the flip. So this one, Brenda Carey. You see that in the flip. Again, another one, absolutely nothing on the mail side.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. You know, you have to open it up. It's a big, beautiful piece for Val Demings. Great, beautiful piece. But you have to catch it up. And sometimes they do this because they think, hey, just a white piece is going to catch their attention more. But still, a lot of people, you've missed the 95%. And this is what I talk about. People forget that the mail side's face up. So these guys did a really pretty piece that catches your attention on this side, but nobody gets to it because it's got this on the other side, on the side that's up. Instead, they should be doing something like this, where your mail piece is right there. It's really eye-catching. It's really eye-catching. It's right there. It's able to see. The back again, it's nice design story on the back side for the flip. That catches your eye. Now you start seeing my dogs. Here's my dog. Dog, kids, and big name. Dog, kids, and big name. And again, flip on the backside, but again, big name, dogs and kids. This is one I did, I really liked. And because one of the things I liked about it is it has Wekiva Island in it, which a lot of people in Seminole County know, the Wekiva Marina. And again, on the backside, dogs and kids.
Oh, is that your dog?
Same dog, same kids.
So cute.
Seniors, you know, dogs and kids and the environment with somebody who's pretty well known and big, nice big name at the top here. And then when you talk, this one was so big I couldn't even scan it, but here we go. This is one just to give you kind of perspective on how big it is.
Wow, it's huge.
Normal 8.5, 11 by sheet of paper over that. Now the nice thing about this one is it's going to come in your mailbox kind of curved, like this or like this, or folded over with the mail in between. So you have to do something about it. This mail piece was designed specifically so that it came in the mailbox like this. So you actually have to fiddle with it to get it out. You can pull all the other stuff out and you see this one. So this one gets you separate identification. This is all the tricks to get you a little bit longer to looking at my piece. Now,
wow,
this one, this piece here, I think cost around, as opposed to 40 cents, these oversized pieces, I think this one cost me around 60 cents to mail. So it was a little bit more expensive. So we did a little bit better targeting of it. Unfortunately, this guy lost. This guy won. so anyways, so that's a little bit about the design on mail. Any questions on it? All right. So the next part I'm going to talk about is your printer, and I run into this problem quite a bit with folks on printing, is that printing is often talked about being kind of a widget, is often looked at being a widget. They go out and get 3 bids on printing quotes, and whoever's cheapest gets the job. I've been doing a lot of printing, and I tell you, I will use the same. I've used the same printer almost across the board for 25 years because a good printer is that hard to find. And I've used other printers, and I'm usually disappointed. There's a couple of others that I've used that I'll use again. there's a whole lot of folks that I will never use again because the quality wasn't good. And I mean, just little things like paper. China is, before all the stuff with China infused the market with some really cheap paper that to the untrained eye, you're not going to be able to tell the difference until it comes in your mailbox and somebody decides, you put a thing to write on it and you can't, and it smudges because it's cheap paper and doesn't absorb the ink. Or it's in the mail house, the post office picks up some of the ink because the paper didn't really absorb it. These are all little things that your professional paper people will be able to do. They'll be able to sit down with you, talk to you about the different types of paper, the different kinds of costs. Paper is super important. The other thing is that there's a lot of things, a lot of printers that do digital. A lot of new printers shopped up, and this is just a digital printer. Digital printers are really good for some things. They're good for fast. They're good for cheap. If you need something fast and cheap, you go digital because that can be a day turnaround. It may be a little bit more expensive than offset, but the quality is just not the same. It's not as sharp. It's just the colors aren't as vibrant. The pictures aren't as clear. And so when I'm doing direct mail that's going out to large market that's trying to capture folks, is I'm always going to try and use an offset printer. An offset printer is the old-timey printer where they put together a plate and run the ink over the plate, and the big giant machines are out there. It's really fantastic. And that's why I say plan out a full run of campaigns. So when I'm doing direct mail for a candidate, I'm figuring out every direct mail piece I'm going to run at what particular time, and I'm designing them all at the beginning so I can have them all design one plate, because that plate will cost about $150 to print, to make. And all they do is they make it out of lead or make it out of the metal, solid it up with your design on it, and then melt it back down and make a new plate next time. So if you can save that, so instead of spending, if you're going to do 5 mail pieces, you design, or 6 mail pieces, you want to do it even numbers. You design 6 mail pieces, they can put them all on one plate. Then you've just saved $600.
Wow.
Because it would have been $150 each for that piece that you now only have $150 to spend. So planning that out. And that's one of the things you could do with an A/B or ABC test, is that you can have everything the same on a mail piece and just have the offers different, but put that all on the same plate and send it all the same the other time. The other thing that you can do, and I did this for a restaurant where we were rewarding people who voted for us in the best of contest. So anytime I had it fixed out so I knew when somebody voted for us, I would send them out a coupon for free wings. That basically my print, instead of sending out, from our place, somebody stuffing it, I had my printer do 10,000 shells, and each week I would give him a list of 1,000 people. So he would print out at 10,000 pieces, because the more you print at one time, the lower your cost is. So instead of just having him print out 1,000 every week, he print out 10,000, saved me, probably cut the printing cost in half, but then also eliminated the problem for me. I just sent him an Excel spreadsheet. He imprinted the addresses, sent them off, kept them at the printing shop. All perfect for me. It saves your money, it saves your time. And again, I can't emphasize enough, ask about the relationship at the post office. Because the post office, the post office will, a lot of people say different things, and having somebody there that can sit there and make sure that your stuff is getting sent quickly because they like the guy is important, that your stuff's sitting there flat, sitting on the floor of the post office for a while. And you can go there and see that. And that's what they do, is they sit there and they sit on the post office until they say, oh, we got some space, let's send it out now. Yours goes first if you got a friendly person on there. So printing is just as important as design is in a mail house. And the other portion of it is your mail house, if you're doing a direct target, they'll be able to dedupe your list. They'll make sure your list is more clean. They'll take out some of the things that are out there. And this is the last thing that I say on your mail house, is they won't do it. Make sure that you put your office and your home and another friend in the target area in your mail list, so you know when it hits. I'll give you a funny story, because I forgot to do it this time in my last mail piece on the election, and the post office had sent out after that time it had already passed to the 10-day thing. So I was really concerned that I was going to do there. So I rushed and got it out. I forgot to seed it, and I didn't know. So I didn't know where it was going. So luckily, I was out door knocking for my candidate, and the guy had a stack of mail sitting on his front porch, and I just kind of rifled through it and saw that my pieces were there. So, but there's nothing worse than not knowing if your mail piece comes there. And remember as well, and this is one of the things that people forget, is they say, well, why didn't XYZ get it? Why didn't I get it? Didn't get it at the same amount of time. You deliver your post office. I always deliver my mail pieces to the trade port down by the airport mailbox because everything comes into there. So if I deliver my mail piece to, and probably Daytona Airport's the same one as the same thing up in Volusia, but you deliver them to your post office, local post office in Ormond Beach. It then gets sent down to either Daytona or Orlando, and then gets sent back out to Ormond Beach. Mm-hmm. So that's how it goes. So I skip that step, go to the main distributors before and it saves you a little bit amount of time because it's going to go there anyways. So, people will say that they're not getting their mail. And this is the other thing that you get is you'll have friends who were on the list that they say, oh, I didn't get it when they did, but they just didn't see it and they didn't remember it. And that's okay. That's okay. Because again, they're out of the 1,000 people that we sent to on the other one, only 990 of them didn't realize they got it. So, and it's funny because I've had this with clients. Hey, my buddy said he didn't get it. I'm like, yeah, he did. He was on the list. He goes, I swear he said he didn't get it. I said, yeah, he got it. Because I know, because it came to my address and it came to your address, and there's no reason why he wouldn't have gotten his specific one. So now sometimes things get lost in the mail. They do. That one-off could happen, but highly unlikely they happen. And the last thing I'm gonna leave on this, and I didn't even check my time. We're coming near the end. Is just a reminder that track everything. Have your staff, have the people on the front lines understanding how important it is to save that card or enter it into the cash register or enter it into the computer database that XYZ person returned this card. Because if let's say you're doing 3 different offers, how are you going to know which offer does best? Because if you're doing 3 offers in the mail, the next list, I want to do the top offer. I want to do the one that's the best. And so you can do different sizes, you can do different shapes, you can do different offers, but the only way you know it is if that information is getting tracked into your campaign. I had this with a client. He kept saying, well, I don't know if anything's working. I'm like, well, what have you tracked? How many responses did you get to XYZ piece? I don't know.
That's what is very important for customer service, to ask, how did you hear about us? Or do a little survey whenever your customers are with you. And then you can track, oh, I hear it from online or the postcard or a mail or a friend. And that way you can track the return on investment in the marketing campaign.
Oh, absolutely. And this is what I love about direct mail, because it's an actual postcard. It's actually something you can bring in to them and return it and put it in a stack, and you can physically count them and find out how many pieces were returned. Yep. By the way, this is a great size. This is a 6x9. I love this size. This is one of my favorite sizes because it's very different than just a regular postcard. Kind of sticks out a little bit, but it's not the size of a paper. So it feels a little bit different than some of the other stuff out there. And it's also relatively inexpensive. This is about, once you start getting over this size, you start really pumping up your price. So 6x9s are really, really good pieces. Yeah. Easy. Or that's a 6x11. Sorry, that's a 6x11. I like that one.
That's good. So I'm gonna be running, but Zach is I'm gonna run Alan, so thank you so much. So you stay, we finish at noon, but I gotta go to another meeting. So I'll see you next time, guys, and let's continue. Bye. I will leave the logo there.
Well, I had planned for an hour and a half,
Okay,
so
yeah, yeah.
and I'm right there right now.
Oh,
So
you forgot.
I'm kind of wrapped up on my side. I'm open for questions.
Oh,
If you got
good.
anything, if there's anything that I didn't follow up, if not, I like I said, I aim for an hour and a half with 10 minutes of questions, and I'm right there
Oh,
right
okay.
now.
Okay, Zach and Twinkle, let's ask questions.
Well, I want to say that this has been absolutely amazing information, and Zach knows that this was really a good time for me to hear all this. Of course, I've already printed a card that obviously is too small, and the pictures on the one side and the address on the other. So you've just really given me, some really good information. My thought as I'm listening to you is, well, I hope the fact that I was going to handwrite a message, because these are not going out to that many thousands of people. So even if it comes with the address up, they're going to see a handwritten message from me on this, in this case. But in the future, this information you've given is absolutely amazing. I'm actually just blown away. Thank you so much.
Absolutely incredible. And they respond in handwritten messages responded better than most. That's a good way to get people in. The lost art of thank you notes, if you can do that, but just, and it's funny, there's actually machines out there now that will mimic your handwriting and do it automated. I have a friend of mine who's an elected official who has one of those. So it is perfectly, looks like handwritten, but it's all machine generated. And you can't tell that it's machine generated when he sends them out. But handwritten stuff always catches people's attention, especially if it's really handwritten. I can't do it because my handwriting is absolutely horrendous. You can't read it, but my wife does it on her campaign all the time. And here's a little trick that we use in campaigning with direct mail, although it's not really, it's more targeted mail than direct mail. When you meet somebody, what do you probably want to send them a nice to meet you card if you're in the habit of doing that. It's because nice to meet you cards are kind of nice, a nice touch. When you meet them, fill out another card and put it in a box to mail out 6 months later. And just keep a 6-month card box out that you mail out 6 months later, and just say, hey, just wanted to follow up with you. We met 6 months ago at XYZ event. You'll never remember to do that 6 months from now. But if you got a card, if you write both handwritten cards out at the same time, put one aside, it's really effective. In political campaigns, because we're door knocking, we knock on the door, we talk to somebody, we send them a thank nice to meet you note, and then we send them that just reminding you to vote for me because we had such a great conversation 6 months ago card right before the election. It's really, really powerful because people are like, how did you remember all this stuff about our conversation? It stands out.
That's incredible. I did do a call to action on my card, which was, after you receive this, send me a text, put my phone number, and said you'll be entered into a drawing. So
Gotcha.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on this company that I was just introduced to, Send Out Cards. They basically do all of what you just said for you.
Yeah, they're a little bit pricey. It depends on the number. I've used them before. That's. I tend to prefer customized stuff to us because the stuff that you're using is generic templated things that they do. So so it's not as much quality. They are a little bit more pricey, but that said, it is a way to automate your delivery system for cards. I think, I haven't used them in a long time, but they do you're right, they do exactly what they do, and it's a good way to automate. So it depends on how many people you got.
Yeah, I haven't met with them yet. I have an appointment with them next week, and I didn't realize that you couldn't customize your cards.
You can customize, but it's not. I don't think they do like your own. If last time it was like customized with their various pieces, And when I mean, it's like constant contact versus a email program, customized email program. You can customize their template, but if you want to do there's a lot of folks out there that just can design their own email and send it out and be a completely customized item. What I find is, with the Vistaprint, this is where Vistaprints is the same sort of thing. The design elements that you get on Vistaprints and send out cards are not the same that you would get if you hired a designer or had somebody on design on that. Now, designers can be expensive. There are some places out there that 99 Designs. I've had some good luck with them designing logos. I haven't used them for collateral, but they do collateral as well. And what that is basically you agree that you're going to spend X amount on a design and a package, and then designers around the world compete for the ones you like. So that's a little bit of way of lessening your costs there. But if you don't have a designer on staff, that they may be the right fit for you. So I'm lucky I have a designer guy that I work with that I keep around because he's pretty good, and I'm loyal. I've worked with him since 2006. So
you just sold his business for, I'm thinking to myself, why has he never told us this stuff? Like, just you're showing us how you pick a mailing list. That's incredible information. So good. I'm so happy you were here today. Very nice.
No worries. Anything else, Zach? Is there anything that I didn't cover that I should have?
So this series is this whole series is on how to innovate Volusia County businesses, specifically during the times that we're going through with COVID-19. And as we talked up to this point, are specifically on the lack of foot traffic to brick and mortars and be able to come back online. And I know you've mentioned a lot about your email marketing right now, especially being able to easily track by being able to bring them in and see that, okay, yeah, this piece of mail works, whether it's the second, third, fourth, fifth iteration of it. And this might kind of tie in with some of the political campaigns, because you really can't do that with political campaigns. It's more noticed in the voting booth is when you sort of get your return on investment there. So how would these be different, if any, for those online-only businesses? Like how would they best be targeted for those?
Well, a couple of things on that. First of all, one of the nice things about COVID, if you can say nice things about COVID at all, is that there's just not as much mail in the mailbox these days. So you have a better shot of your pieces sticking out. The bad thing about COVID is there is still some reluctance to touch the mail by probably about a third of the audience out there, that they don't even like touching the mail. So they kind of get the heebie-jeebies when they talk about that. But that number is going down as we get further down the line, especially in Florida, where we've pushed very hard to open back up. What I would do on your mail campaigns is kind of very similar to what I would say if you're doing an online campaign. Is number one, have a splash page set up that is targeted for ones that you can only get to with a URL put into that mail piece. As opposed to a code, you put Melissa, you put Groovy Goat offer or Groovy Goat, let's say an online, let's say you're selling, you have a side business selling candles. I don't know. I was thinking wellness. I was thinking serenity of the mind, Twinka. Let's say you got a side business selling candles online that help promote the wellness of the mind. So you could do, if you wanted to do a mail piece, you put out a website or just a special page on your website, Twinka's Candles / buy one get one mail piece, or buy one get one mail, or greatsmells.com or something like that. So it's just a special page that you can't access anyplace else unless you have that URL, and that way you can track and you can put the offer in there. Now remember, and this is one of the same things I see with online marketing, is that if you do a splash page, make sure that splash page matches the message that you've got in your mail piece. Because, and this is one of the, same thing that goes on with online. I'll give you, kind of one of my things when talking about Google AdWords is personally, I almost only stay at hotels that have free breakfasts. Now it's a little bit different with COVID because they kind of closed down that free breakfast buffets, but that's where, because I hate getting up and going and then stopping for breakfast. I want to get up, I want to eat, leave the hotel, and go out explore the day. So if I'm searching hotels with free breakfast in Kissimmee, a bunch of AdWords come up for hotels. Probably, if I got to guess, 75% of those AdWords lead to the homepage of the hotel, and there's nothing there about their breakfast. Probably another 20% of those have something about breakfast, but it's one line on a whole bunch of other things. And then there's one or two websites that I open up a page and it has a beautiful picture of a Mickey waffle sitting there making me hungry. Because you can do that with both online. So if I'm sending out a piece to potential travelers or potential, for staycation sessions, and you want to say, here's an offer for XYZ staycation, you better have, when people go to your website to book, they have something specific, shows a great picture of that staycation special just for you, so that people can remember that's, so people are kind of lining up that same message, that they're still intrigued. If they were intrigued when they got the mail piece, don't lose them when they go to the website because you're giving a different message. Keep that message going. Get them to fill out that form as quickly as possible. So that's how you do it online, is just that specialty URL. And that's how you track, again, your offers, test your offers. That's one of the other things that we've tested before. We've tested different sizes. You can test different sizes of what works, what doesn't. But yeah, online is just, getting people to go to the website is just as important in today's world as bringing in a piece.
Right. And so you would say that having a unique splash page or a unique URL is more important than just offering like a code to where someone would go to your page and enter that code for that special offer on that.
Well, the problem with the code is because, remember, sales, you want to be tracking every step down along the line. Is that if I've got a code, I don't know how many people came to the website and did not enter the code. Gotcha. So I only know how many people entered the code for my website. Because let's say I get a ton of people coming to the website and nobody's entering the code, there's a problem on my website that I need to fix. And I need to figure that out quickly. But if I don't know how many people are going to the website and stopping, I can't figure out that thing. I'm only seeing that end result there. So I would rather have a splash page that I can check on Google Analytics and then have the code on there, so I can say, okay, I sent out 10,000 pieces, 100 people went to my website, 50 people filled out the form, 25 people then bought, and so I know all the way down the line. And if something's sticking, I can adjust in my next mail piece. I can adjust on the website. I can adjust on the back end sales side, once you say. And that's the other thing that with direct mail I did not talk about is combining direct mail and telemarketing. Especially if you're doing a wide audience, a large mail piece, and there's lots of outsourced telemarketing groups you can do. Dominican Republic is really good for outsourced telemarketing services, but making sure, and even if it's a small one, like on yours, going back to to customers, for that card, I might do it first class, 50-cent step, and send out 10 a day, and then call 2 days later, those 10 people. So you call, targeting and making sure they call, that will increase your result rate, because, you call and say, hey, I sent you a card, just wanted to follow up, make sure you got it, see if you had any questions on it. And they said, I don't remember seeing the card. Well, here, let me send you an email with the offer on it. You can send them an email with it right then. So you're starting that conversation. Or they saw the card and they said, oh yeah, I saw that. And you see that in political campaigns. We call behind, we door knock behind, and people reference the mailers. They reference these calls. This is the other thing, we didn't talk about stuffed envelope letters. Those work really well. Oftentimes people sometimes feel fooled if you do some trickery. People do trickery to get them on the outside. I tend to think that you don't really want to do a lot of trickery. Law firms have some very, very specific things that they have to put on their mail. No other group is as regulated as law firms are. But if you're a law firm, make sure you check the bar rules on mail pieces, because it's very specific. Political mail has some, but not a lot of requirements. The post office has the requirements. They'll have templates for your designers that you can do. Your printers will, but that's one of the other important things is follow up, call behind, email behind, do whatever you can to make sure you follow up. And since it's you doing a small batch, doesn't cost you a lot. It costs you $5 to send out 10 pieces, and then to call 10 people, because you already probably got their phone numbers. And you can buy. It's not great. You can buy phone numbers with your mailing list. They don't match all the time. They don't. What I'm saying is you don't have a lot of cell phone numbers with them. You have a lot of problems if you're doing cold calls. The telemarketing is not allowed to call cell phones, but they can call landlines. But a lot of people have landlines, particularly if you're doing Hispanic marketing. It's very few landlines in Hispanic markets. It's almost all cell phones. That has to be one-on-one. Texts, texts, you see a lot of political messaging. Texts are interesting. You can't do robo-texts. That's illegal through the Federal Trade Commission, but now there's programs that basically allow you to individualize and send thousands of texts at one time, but send it as an individual text. Kind of weird how you do that, but we got around it. That's why you get so many political texts these days.
I'm getting those right now.
Well, and I'll tell you, if you hate political mail, although if you're in marketing, I always say you should see what everything is doing on political mail, because especially on big campaigns, maybe not president, but governor and Congress especially, they're so targeted, they're so good, there's so much money being spent, and they know exactly, they use every facet of marketing. And so if you follow what political people are doing, you're probably going to have a good idea what to do with your business as well. But if you don't like political marketing, vote early, because that's one of the things that if you voted, I'm taking you off my list immediately. As soon as I get the daily people who voted every day in absentee ballot, and they come off my list. Now there's going to be some overlap from the time you put it in your mailbox to the time it gets to supervisor elections. There'll be a couple of days there, but once it hits the supervisor of election, I will not send you a mail piece. I won't knock on your door. I won't call you. I won't text you. I won't put digital ads on your house. All the other stuff. So that's a trick. That's what I say. Now me, I get an absentee ballot and then vote election day, so I get every piece of mail that's possible out there. So that's me, because I want to see what everybody's doing.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you. Trinka, do you have anything else? Any more questions?
I think this is great.
So if anybody has any questions, I don't know if my name and email and all the other stuff will be in there, but it's Alan, ALAN, @bizconnections.com. 407-415-8470 is my cell phone. I do not have a website right now. Cobbler syndrome. I haven't had one for a few years. I got to get that fixed at some point in time, but I'm too busy doing other people's stuff. So.
I understand. Well, thank you, Alan, so much for jumping on. And Twinka, as always, thank you for showing up. For those of you guys watching, whether that's on YouTube, on our website, the information that Alan gave us will be underneath, so make sure you check the description for those contact information. Join us again in 2 weeks to continue on the series. We will only have 2 more left, so we hope you're enjoying it. If you need anything, always give us a call here at the Incubator as well, or visit us online at VolusiaTechHub.com. Until then, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.